Think I'm hosting anyone right now, but I'm still going to give it 10 seconds before I say, hi, Stream! Thank you for joining us this evening. You are joining the lovely Virginia and I. She's, I believe, my very first guest, which is very exciting. We just realized it a minute or two ago. Virginia is joining me as I take a look at a very beloved adventure of Steamforged games. They're the ones that make the doggos that you guys were playing the other day in that one shot that I did.
That was the best.
It was I love that rule set. The first time I saw it, it was a Kickstarter where they were doing minis. I wish I had them next to me. They're so cute. And I was like, well, obviously I need those. And so I backed it. And then when I got them, they gave us a module. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And I got really excited about it. And this is the very first module they've put out. It's a bit long for my needs. I'm trying to diversify my doggo pool, and I was taking a look at this today, and I realized it's a bit too long. So yeah, I'm happy that you were joining me to cut it down this evening.
Yay! Well, you're going to teach me, really.
Yeah. So this is something that GMs do a lot. They take written content and they figure out how they want to use it. So one thing that I had to get over really fast when I was a GM was that while it is written, these creators have provided you this material to use as you see fit. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I could think that way when I was looking at the Wizards of the Coast rule books, right? Like rules as written, rules as intended, but I'm going to hand wave the shit out of this, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, when it was something somebody else had written, or it was like another expansion, it becomes really difficult for me to divorce the written word from what I can imagine, and I end up getting stuck there. And that's actually why I stopped running Shadowrun, because I was too hooked into the lore, and I wanted to be right as far as the lore went instead of just making stuff up. And so I just got too bogged down in it. You know what I mean? You've ever had that?
I totally do that. And I think there's two reasons I do it. I really like reading the script, and I think I'm good at reading, but it can thwart my imagination, right? And being able, but like I like having a script, but at the same time I feel stunted by it sometimes.
Yeah.
But then also I often play with, and my players have memorized the rule book. And then I feel paralyzed by that.
Yeah. So I had the same kind of situation. I have what I affectionately refer to as a rules scholar in several of my parties. Not a rules lawyer, because those guys are usually buttheads. But this guy, he does know all the rules. His name is Tech Soup. He's my moderator, one of my moderators. And I actually forgot to tell him I was going live tonight, so he might show up. Hi, Tech, if you do. And he knows everything. Like, he knows all of the rules. He's really good at this, right? But he's not rude about it. He doesn't, like, when I get a rule wrong, he doesn't go, actually, what he would do is he would, like, wait till after the game. Oh, so Not Luthera is my other sub. Hello, my love. So I guess he's kind of around, although I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be doing your own thing tonight, my love. And Tech is subbing for an Overwatch team right now. That's pretty cool. I hope he's doing a good job. Or, not, I mean, of course he's doing a good job. I hope he has fun. Sorry, you know what I meant.
You know what I meant. Great time.
Yes, I hope he's having a delightful time. But what was I saying there? Yeah, so he knows all the rules, but he would ping me offline and be like, hey, so do whatever you want, obviously. Like, this is your game. But if you were wondering, this is the rule. Or he would be like, hey, I'd like to do this. And I'd be like, I have no idea how that works. And he'd be like, cool, here's a snapshot of the rulebook. And so he was really polite about it. So it got to the point where I would, in the middle of a game, be like, Tech? And he would be like, this is the rule. And I'd be like, great.
Yeah.
And in the moment, then for a while, I was tied to whatever he said. Whatever he said went. If I asked him for a rule and he said the rule, then I had to use it. But then I got to a place where I was talking to him offline, and I was like, listen, sometimes you tell me the rule and I just don't want to do that. It's nice to know that I'm not following the rules, but I kind of want to hand wave. How do you feel about me asking you for information and then completely ignoring it? He was like, it's your game, do what you want. And I was like, I want to make sure you're comfortable with this. And he was like, go for it. So that's what we do now. I say, what's the rule on this? And he tells me, and sometimes I go, neat, and I do whatever I want. So it's
And that's a great place to be. One day I'll get there.
Yeah, it does take time, and frankly, I don't think I would have gotten there without someone like Tech.
Right, supportive.
Yeah, like somebody that does know all the rules but can be sort of nice about it. And
Yeah.
because he's not pressuring me, and because he's constructive about it, right? Like he doesn't just swoop in and be mean about it, then I'm actually learning stuff too, which is fun. Anyway, enough about Tech.
Yeah, and it sounds like he supports the creative process, and so that makes me think about how, because it's fun, that's why you learn as well. Like, because I think for me, I get stressed sometimes that I got the rules wrong, and then I get turned around and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm pretty sure that spell can't do that, and then I don't learn, right? I don't remember it next time because I got dysregulated.
Yeah, and it's anytime I get flustered, I lose whole patches of time and stuff, so it's... Yeah, I did a stream recently where I was very anxious the entire time, and because I'd gotten thrown off right at the beginning of the stream, and I kept having people being like, oh, that was a really good stream, blah, blah, blah. And so I went back and watched it, which I never do, because I sound funny on camera. And I looked okay, and I knew that I was anxious because I was watching myself, and I knew it, but it turned out okay, and I was like, all right, that's neat.
Yay.
Anyway.
That is good.
So this is my favorite illustration from these games. This is Cornelius the Wizard. This is the stuffed animal I think of. I know the Bun Bun is actually, like, there's an illustration of the Bun Bun of Soothing that is a bunny rabbit, but I love this dragon. I'm gonna make a magic item for it someday. So the rule set can be found if you Google Steamforged games or Animal Adventure Steamforged games. You'll get to their website, and they provide this PDF for free. So I went to their website and I pulled it up on online. None of this is, I mean, it is proprietary in that they own it, but it's up online for free. You can go grab it. Hi, Tyler. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so let's see here. So I'll just scroll really slowly through these really cute illustrations. I really love this German Shepherd who's sleeping on a turtle that's just eating grass, like whatever. And I especially love this is that fighter character, Hartley, the pit bull in the bottom right-hand corner, just chewing on a toy. Like, he's a cute dog, and he's got all these things with spikes on him, so he's clearly very tough, but at the same time, that bunny rabbit is yellow.
Super cute. Yes.
And I'll skip through the content. So when you're looking at an adventure that's been published, there are a couple of different things that you'll see fairly commonly. Now, there's always an exception to this rule, and this is my experience, so keep that in mind. A lot of what you'll see is an introduction, so they'll give you sort of a general premise or why they've done it or whatever, and then often they'll give you orientation things, like here you can see that this green area, this is read aloud by descriptions. That means anytime we run across a green italics area, you're supposed to read that aloud. Whereas everything else around it will be just description. And I sometimes find that very confusing because sometimes the description will have like almost everything in it, but not everything. And then the regular text will have more information. And I'm like, why is that in the, why? And it bugs me. Oh, hi, Soso. Soso's one of my new followers. They started following me because of Minecraft, I'm pretty sure, I think. Is that why you joined me? Anyway, they've started jumping into my D&D streams as well, and I'm finding it quite amusing. Yeah, so a lot of orientation stuff on this first page, character hooks, things like that. This one actually gives us an overview of the different chapters, which is neat. So you start in a quiet village, you move into the woods. They call the third chapter By the Light of the Blood Moon. And so I can already see here that this is a little bit too much information for what I want to do in a one-shot. Typically in a one-shot, you want to have role-playing. Again, this is a rule of thumb that I use. Take it or leave it. I recommend having role-playing, some kind of combat, and some sort of like puzzle type thing. You know what I mean? So in the Dungeons and Doggos game that you played, Virginia, do you mind sharing what you would associate with those three things: role playing and combat and puzzle type stuff?
Well, I was a brilliant rogue
You were.
shepherd dog who
That's
I
true.
still love and
Yeah.
look forward to playing again.
Mm-hmm.
So the role playing bits were, I think I've played that module twice. So the first time round, I had a little fun with it, but the second time round, that was pretty epic. The role playing pieces there and that
Yeah.
when we found the golden whistle and then it got taken from us and all that excitement and we were able to just, I think the group that we were with as well, we all really enjoyed that piece, right?
Yes, you. So your group is the only group that laughed so hard we had to stop for a minute because we were all laughing, and I believe that was the one where I was broken for a minute because I couldn't stop laughing. So yes, we had a good old time.
So did you say role playing, puzzle, and combat?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what was I mean, everything was a puzzle. Was there one puzzle?
Well,
Um,
so I use
yeah.
the term puzzle loosely, right? Like it can be a literal puzzle. Like for example, that first room you guys were in where you had to figure out that you all three of you had to howl at least.
Oh yeah, perfect.
You know, that's technically a puzzle. But at the same time, you could also count like having to find where the scent led as a kind of puzzle, like trying to figure out how to solve the rooms that you were moving through. Each of those things can be a kind of puzzle. But the way I think of it is if your players have to think about it, then it's kind of a puzzle. You know, it is in a sense a hook, if you will.
I think that first room's the perfect example because it's like it was like a riddle. It was like, you know, solve this, right? That was a very, very classic puzzle example.
Yeah.
Do you find that people sometimes they've played so much D&D though that the puzzle piece is hard to keep fresh and challenging?
You know, I talk a lot about how I play with all different kinds of levels of players, but I realized the other day I don't think I've ever played with somebody who's been playing it for like a decade. You know what I mean? Or has been playing it since the good old days. I know people who have, but I don't think I've ever had them in my party. Now, I know GMs that do have those kinds of people in their parties, and I haven't had that experience, so I don't know. I think the closest I have is actually Tech, who knows everything. And the thing about Tech is he's really good at metagaming. He's really good at knowing all the rules and still being able to just play along with the story.
It.
Yeah, suspend that and just play with the story. Yeah. And every now and then I do surprise the shit out of him, and it's really funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The combat was really fun in that first one as well because it was like there was something about the fact that it was gross rats, but it was pretend. Yeah, it was okay. It made it okay.
Yeah, and there's that too, right? Like, I have played through Dungeons and Doggies with some, I'll say, seasoned D&Ders, and they were playing alongside some newer players, and I was a little worried that they would, you know, feel like it was slow or not worth playing. But everybody I've run through it has had a really good time, so or that's what I'm looking for in my one-shots. It's a sweet spot where I can put anybody at the table and they will suspend all of their feelings for a little while and just play through the game and have fun. And it seems to work. So that's what I'm hoping for this edit that I do here.
I think that's all really true, but I also think that you have a little bit of a secret sauce, which might be harder to identify.
Really? What pray tell is that?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it a bit more. I probably shouldn't have started externally processing, but I think you set people at ease and you make it really clear that like it's a low pressure, just for fun thing, and I think that's something, I don't know. Like you could craft the shit out of this right now and make it the perfect one shot and give it to someone else.
Yeah.
And unless they got that secret sauce piece, it's going to feel different, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
Well, that is something I've been thinking about as well, right? Like when I played through with your group, one of the players in your group really wanted to to run it as well. And I was like, do it. Like it's all written right here. I got everything I got from this book. I didn't really edit this very much. And I definitely, like, as soon as you read it, you're going to see the bits that I messed with. But I'm a bit of a storyteller, and as soon as I got out of my own way, it just comes out in these kinds of scenarios. And so the same way that I tell players that you can play it by reading off the character sheet and you will have a good time. That is true. And I've seen whole parties of people just like noses buried in their character sheets, the GM buried in their book, and they've still had a good time, right? Or you can get all into it and get all dressed up like the Critical Role people and go all, all in, right?
Yeah.
Or you can do something in the middle. It just doesn't really matter. I've played with GMs that tend to play it more by the book than storytelling. I've played with GMs that storytell more than I do. So it just all depends on the group that you're looking for. Yeah. And my version tends to play well with a wider variety, I think. I guess I would posit. Oh, sorry. Tyler said the Howl puzzle eluded them. So Tyler was in one of my Dungeons and Doggos at one point as well. And they said, I agree about the secret sauce and hadn't had words for it. Oh, great. Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, Tyler Moonsage is a good friend of mine. So.
Not just me.
No, yeah, no. My husband talks about it too. He every now and then we'll finish a game and I'll just be like, that did not feel fun, and he'd be like, oh my god, babe, and he'll go off about something. And every time I feel bad about a piece, I remember this one NPC that I made up off the cuff, and all of my players still talk about it.
Oh.
And I'm like, all right, that's fine then. This didn't go well, but I still have that unnamed Smith that everyone loves. And you have to hold on to those moments, and
my friend says you have to put them in your pocket.
Yeah. So I've been thinking about this. So this was a 90s thing where you I think where you would write nice things that people say about you down like in a book. Right? And then when you're having a bad day, you go through and you read those things. And they're all true, right? And you can't really argue with them because other people have said them or whatever. And like a lot of the people I knew in theater would put like their best reviews in there, or they'd write down like their best, like on night 3 I did this perfectly and this was the reaction from the crowd and it was amazing, or things like that. And I've thought about doing that for D&D. And I'm thinking about it. I might do that. We'll see.
You used to do something called Rosy Glows. You just reminded me of those.
Yes, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luth says
I thought about that for a while.
Luth says I legit have a crush on that blacksmith, and I'm married to the GM that made her. Yeah. So she's not like me at all. I don't think. No, don't answer that.
No, we don't.
Nobody answer that. I don't want to go there. I don't want to know. But so I have a therapist. I'm on the spectrum, and I have anxiety and stuff. And I think everybody should have a therapist. I think it should be normal. So I'm gonna say it out loud. And
I agree.
I'm sure you do. Yeah. So, she's worked with me on different things in the past. And at one point, I had a really bad habit of just in my head saying bad things about myself. And it's a very dangerous habit to get into because your brain lies to you anyway. And then to reinforce those lies your brain is telling you in your own voice, it's just a whole nother layer of not good. And so she, for a while, worked with me on writing down things that I thought about myself that were positive. And I'll tell you, it was one of the hardest things. And once I got into the habit of it, I could every now and then really get something that I liked. And it's still something I have to remind myself to do. And I think it might be useful as a GM, especially just starting out. Like, what did you do well today? Did you do a good check-in with everybody? Great. What did you do good about that? Write it down and then do it next time. That kind of thing. So it's, yeah. Tyler says, I'll start doing that with moments. I know I've done really well over my DMing years and had some strong praise, but I can't remember what any of those moments actually were, just that they existed. Def gonna start tracking them. All right, cool. Tyler, you and I will be moment tracking buddies. Sound good?
Love it.
Yeah, Tyler's fun. So I think it's a good idea, and I'll start doing it. Actually, that reminds me of a thing that I am going to start doing. I've decided to start doing a series called Cereal Spoons, and I will be doing recaps from all 3 of my campaigns, 2 of which are streamed and 1 of which is not. And if anybody wants to jump into a campaign in the middle, they'll be able to watch a series of shorter videos where I just rant about whatever happened in sessions 1 through 10. And I'll bring guests on. So we have a stat tracker for the Treasure Tuesday campaign, and he's agreed to come on and talk about, you know, how stats are interesting and like numbers, business. Is this working? And Shift will be really interesting because it's not streamed at all. It's not really online at all, except for when something really funny happens at the table. And I've done a lot of fictional writing about it, so that'll get on the internet. And then we're starting up a new campaign on Saturday, which has yet to be named, and I believe the poll is still open. Let's go see if that's true. We're doing a poll on the names. Have you voted on this yet, Virginia?
I don't know why I didn't. My finger hovered.
Could you not decide?
No, I'm trying to remember.
Dang it, I should have pinned that tweet.
I'm looking for it now.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Here it is.
Oh, good grief. What is that thing
Here.
You posted?
I'll send it to you. What thing I posted?
Fungus log thing.
What?
You posted something, a woman expanding some tree trunk thing. It doesn't matter.
Oh, that confused the shit out of me. It looks like a tree trunk, and she picks it up in the middle, and it just like...
It's not okay.
I don't even know how to describe this. Tyler, you're gonna kill me. It's like a noodle, right? Virginia, help me on this. So it looks like solid wood, but she scoops it up like a foot or two from the bottom of this log, and she just stands straight up as if it weighs nothing, and it goes up with her like a noodle, but the end of the log stays on the ground, and the rest of the log, it messed with my head a bunch, yeah. So I had to share it with the internet. Okay, so the three that we're voting for are hashtag Punching Fog D&D, hashtag Broken Bane D&D, and hashtag Mindstorms D&D. And so far, Punching Fog is in the lead. I have taken a couple of votes offline, but I will say that Punching Fog is still in the lead. So if you want your votes, get them in there. Okay, yeah. Let's see here. Let's get back to this adventure, shall we? So I wasn't able to project this because I couldn't figure out how to get it up here. So I'm just going to talk through some of what I'm doing on paper over here. So if you take a look here, we're looking at Chapter 1, Little Town, Such a Quiet Village, which I just got that reference.
It's a quiet village.
Yeah, I just got that. That's really funny. And so you get things like the adventure begins in the village of Mirwald, a small settlement nestled within a wooded valley on the edge of the mountainous wilds. The village mostly provides for its own needs, but it trades food and basic supplies for travelers heading into the mountains and beyond. And then right at the beginning, you have a green chunk. You dream of a village in flames. Frenzied barking and snarling fill the air. The villagers flee in panic as their homes burn. The scene fades, and a stooped and aged half-orc stares blindly towards you. This will soon be the fate of Mirwald, she wheezes in a tired voice. I am Rahimi, and I protect them for now, but my time grows short. Please help us. And the half-orc holds a trembling hand out to you. As you accept her touch, the world spins around you, and your paws land on hard wooden floorboards. So that's pretty neat, right? Like, you have a dream and suddenly you are there. That's a great way to start an adventure, like a one-shot. Like,
yeah, it's a classic.
Handwave, and you're there. So the next bit reads...
Nice that it's a half-orc good guy. I like that little touch.
Yes, I'm avoiding... so a couple of things I don't deal with in my games are sexual trauma and racism. I'm a skinny white chick, and I'm not equipped to talk about race. And so I'm ignoring the orc debate online in my games. And if anybody has questions about it, I can point you towards some reading.
Right.
By people who are qualified to talk about this. And in my campaigns, nobody is bad because of their race. They're bad because of something they've done or something they want to do. And it's a personal thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever taken an entire race and said they've all done this one horrible thing and that makes them terrible.
Yeah, I'm running a pretty old module right now. It's really long, and every now and then I'm like, oh, ew, I didn't read that well enough.
I don't like that.
Avoid it. Yes.
Yeah, I reword a lot of stuff when I don't agree with it. I've gotten some I'll say interesting, I don't know, additions to gameplay, I guess I'll say. And some of them I don't like the tone of, and so I just won't use those, you know? Yeah. Okay, so what we're looking at here is an uninspected summons. Now, I have read this, and I'm going to jump through it because to read 20 pages of an adventure I don't have the time for that. I'm sorry, I don't have the patience. So you end up being teleported into a room, and they describe where you are, what you're doing, and then you end up talking to a bunch of people. You talk to the mayor. Rahini is like unconscious or something. There's so there's a human male, there's a halfling female, there's the half orc, there's an elf robe. Like, there's a bunch of people in this room. And you end up talking to each of them, but at different locations. So here you talk to the mayor, and then over here, and he's got just a ton of information for you. Each of these little doggy footprints. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 doggy footprints of information. So when I'm going through this, what I do is I put numbers and stars next to an action. If this is going to move the party, it gets a number and a star. Then I put plus signs next to information that is useful. Like someone might ask me a question, and this area plus next to it will have possibly the answer. And then I will circle any checks. So like right here in the middle of the page, you can see it says an Arcana or Nature check at DC 12 will determine that it is an echo of some sort of druidic magic trying to control their minds. That shit got circled. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I went through this entire adventure, and I'll get to the next part next. But so you talk to the mayor, then you go outside, and you go to the inn, and then at the inn, all of the villagers come in and plead with you. So the basic premise for this one is that this village relies very heavily on dogs for village work, right? Like, it's not really a horse town; it's a dog. And a couple of nights ago, all of the dogs in town started acting really strangely, started attacking the villagers. The villagers drove their beloved pets and companions out of town. The dogs all fled to the forest, and the forest got weird, and they tried to find them, and that didn't work out, and now they need help, and what the hell is going on? That's the premise here. Mm-hmm. So you talk to the mayor, you go to the inn, you talk to the villagers, then you talk to the innkeeper, and she gives you a bunch of information, and you pick up an item here, and then there's a bunch of these paragraphs here that are, a lot of these got check marks. Like, there's a bunch of checks here that give you information for different things. Then you go to the temple and you talk to that half-elf that you met at the very beginning, and she gives you a bunch of information. There's a bunch more doggy footprints here. She actually gives you an item, right? And then after you have all of that information, just to make sure you actually go to the forest, the first thing that you get sort of like pulled into personally is a couple says that their 6-year-old son disappeared within the last hour. And you're like, well, I guess I'm going into the woods now then. Yeah. So this definitely has a good feel for a longer adventure, right? Like, there's a lot of meat here for a longer adventure. There's a lot of things you can sink your teeth into. Frankly, you could spend an entire session on these first 2 pages. There's so much stuff here. Like, you could spend an entire session without ever getting to the woods. Yeah. You see? Like, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, totally. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a good thing to do with players. It gives them room to try out their characters. It gives them room to get that really good role-playing in there. But for one shot, you kind of want to have a quick introduction and then get them on the adventure. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Tell me again what marks you put next. So you put up a plus sign next to it if it's like good information.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is going to show up at all, but you just close all of my very silly personal notebooks. I don't know if this will show up on the camera at all.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. Yeah, kind
of.
Can
you see the marks at all? Or is that really annoying?
No, I think... Oh, a little. Yeah, a little. I can.
So I use a star and a number next to what I think of as an action. So you dream of a village and land on the floor of the village. That's an action you've moved. You start talking to the mayor. That's an action. You've moved into a new segment. You move over to the inn. Action. You You start interacting with the villagers. That's a change. Action. Then you go back to talk to the innkeeper. Action. You move to the temple. Action. Right? So it's not just the green areas, right? Like the temple doesn't actually have a green introduction to it at all. Oh, I can highlight. That's good to know. So it's not just the green areas that I highlight, although the green areas tend to be a good indicator that I'm going to need to put a number. Then what I do is I put a plus mark next to extra information. So here, you dream of a village in flames, frenzied barking, snarling fill the air, right? Yes, that's an action. Good job. Then next to this doggy footprint you have, they all arrive together and may not know each other. Opportunity should be given at some point for them to introduce themselves to each other. That is a great point to make. That they all arrive and they may not know each other. Oh, hi, Word Man. How you doing, Word Man? One of you subscribers has got to whip out the emojis. This is killing me. I added them. I need you to throw an emoji in there. You're killing me, guys. So this is a really good point to pull out, right? Like they all arrive together and they may not know each other, and may not know each other is a very good thing to put in there. So for example, when I run this with you guys, because I'm going to run this campaign with you guys are going to know each other. I asked you all if you wanted to, oh, the Catacombs just followed me. Wait, I know who that is. That name sounds really familiar. Oh, and my alert works. That's really cute. I think there's one behind the screen too. I don't know what that one is, but look, that's Tara's teeth. Isn't she cute? Hi, the Catacombs. How do I know you? I'm trying to remember. I feel like I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry if we do. Oh, it's Caitlin. Thank God. Okay, that was making me crazy. All right, cool. Sorry, I'm trying not to say crazy like that. Is that a thing you do, Virginia, where you're trying to remove words from your vocabulary? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy is my latest one. I'm trying to remove that from my vocabulary because I had a friend once tell me that she had a diagnosis, and she was diagnosed in school, and it got out at school, and so everyone just called her.
No.
Yeah, it was not good. Is that gonna jump forever? It might jump forever. I broke my alerts, by the way, guys. I'm just gonna.
I want to see what's behind the screen. I can see the tip of something.
Let's see if I can move this.
Yeah, unlearning language is really hard.
It's a bigger one.
Oh. That's awesome.
I'm just gonna mute that for a second and see if it turns off. I'm so excited you were a follower, though. Thank you. If I unmute it, does it come back? No. Okay, cool. That's a way I can mute it. Cool. What was I saying? Yes. So I'm trying to stop using that word because I don't really mean crazy, and it can be upsetting to people in certain communities, you know, and it, you know, you don't take it lightly or something like that, and it can be kind of frustrating. So I absolutely get it. But it is really difficult to remove language I try to stop and think what I meant instead, and I've completely lost the thread of what I was saying, so I can't even remember what I meant.
I had just asked you about your notations again. So you told me about the actions and the extra information, and then I think there's something else you do where you circle text.
Right. So the extra information is really important because, like down here where the mayor tells you just everything. The villagers banded together and managed to drive the dogs out of the village. They were aided by Rahimi, a wizard studying the relationship between magic and nature in the forest, who was stopping at the Fallen Oak Inn, and the dogs fled into the forest and not been seen since. So turning just that paragraph into one of those little green text blobs, that just isn't going to work, right? So you'll see this a lot in adventures where they sort of sprinkle information in there and you can do whatever you want with it. What can be very tempting to do is to just read these.
But it sucks.
Well, that's the thing, Virginia, is you could do this and it wouldn't necessarily suck because it's good information. And
I don't know. I feel like it's what I do. It's the trap I fall into, and I always am a little disappointed in myself afterwards.
So I kind of had a suspicion that you were going to say that, which is why I started with, no, it doesn't suck. You can do that, right? Like if I were to say
today, and I was like, I don't know. I don't want to do that.
Well, but you might need to, right? Like, so the green
No.
text for the mayor ends with, "I'm sure you have questions. Please ask anything you need to know." And then sometimes you sit there and your players just stare at you.
Yes,
But
that does happen.
But what do you do, Virginia? Do you go, "Okay, you don't have any questions? Bye, have fun," and then you skip this page of information that they need to have to do the rest of the adventure? No,
No.
you don't do that. Right? Like, you have
I have a couple of little strategies I've stolen off some other DMs.
Do you mind sharing
But I
them?
want to know what you. Well, one of them is like telling someone to roll a wisdom check or an intelligence check, and
Yep.
you just remembered that you want to do this or whatever.
Yep.
And the other one that there's Jared is absolutely brilliant DM.
Yeah, I've never.
I'm trying to remember his.
I've never
Twitter
played with
handle.
him. I really want to.
We
Jared's
have to
is...
get him to run a game that we can be in together because
Oh, that would be fun.
it's brilliant. He's hilarious.
You're talking about Kilmer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just is so smooth. Like, if there's something he needs you to notice or pick up, like he just tells you what your how your character realizes.
That's what I do too.
Come to that conclusion, yeah.
We are talking about Jared Kilmer, PhD. He can be found on Twitter at Jared Kilmer. I'm pretty sure I definitely follow him. So
yes.
No, I looked it up. I straight up looked it up.
I'm like, Jared Kilmer. I don't know his Twitter
I do,
handle.
yes.
Happens to be Jared Kilmer.
Well, Elizabeth uses a funnier one, so I can never remember which one of them uses their name or not. Anyway, yes, so that's what I tend to do. So if I have a group of players that are just going to stare at me, I'll say, Virginia, your dog has actually traveled through here and knows that dogs are an integral part of life in this village. They're used for herding, farming, and hunting. They're deeply loved. They're valued members of the families that own them. And then I'll sort of riff, right? And I'll be like, you actually stayed with a family and you saw how they treated their dogs. And that is something that you particularly, like, let's say you're playing like a paladin or something. Like, I can sort of flavor it to like whatever sort of character you've built. And I can be like, you particularly were interested in that because sometimes dogs aren't treated the best. And this was something you care about. And so I can like flavor it that way. So I pretty much read that, but then I sort of riff off the end. But I could have left it with just reading that and just use the hook of like, Virginia, your character knows. Some players hate that. Some players are like, don't tell me what I know. I've never played with one, but I know they exist. I'm not sure what I would do with a player that wanted to do that or that didn't want me to speak for them in that way to give them information. But I don't know. I'll come up with something when it happens. Catacomb says, I feel I need to work on that one too. And I think I saw that comment around when we were talking about removing crazy from the vocabulary. They also said, I feel like, at least for me, when someone is like, have any question, my mind goes blank. Yeah. So yes, thank you. As a player, that happens to me constantly. It's really frustrating.
It's like, and I know I should have a brilliant question right now. And then the pressure just kind of mutes you.
Yes. Oh, Tyler makes a good point.
Web captioner hates me.
Does it?
It really does today.
Why?
But that's fine. Carry on. I'm saying all sorts of crazy things if you read my caption.
Yeah, I have stopped reading the captions. I just don't read them anymore. I check them every now and then to make sure that they're actually working, and sometimes I can't remember what someone has just said, so I'll sneak a peek at their captions, but I don't know, man. This technology needs to get better. I'm sorry. I've said it once, I'll say it again. Tyler makes a good point. I don't think there's anything wrong with this is what you know, but this is what you think gets weird. That's an interesting distinction. I would have thought, well, my initial reaction just there was to say that I would have thought that saying this is what you know would be worse, if that's the right word, than this is what you think. But yeah, what do you think, Virginia?
I guess I like I like the challenge, but what about when you're trying to remind someone of some knowledge that they have but they're not sharing yet or something? I guess you don't want to tell someone what their beliefs are or go too much into their backstory or something because that's their property.
Mm-hmm.
But you might also want to be able to just go like, you definitely studied this in college and you remember but maybe that's yeah, I don't know.
One way I have done it in the past, and I do this a lot with people like tech, or actually with most of my parties, I will do this because I hate assuming things for characters. I do it a lot in the one shots because we need to keep things moving, but for the pacing of my campaigns is a little bit slower, which I apologize for. Sorry, but what I'll say instead is, hey, do you think you would have, hey, Virginia, do you think your character, your player, your dog is big on traveling? Do you think it would have visited small towns, or is it more of a city dog? And if you'd been like, yeah, it's a city dog, I would have been like, okay. And I would have found a different fact that would have fit with that.
Yeah.
You know, or if you'd been like, nope, city dog, I would have been like, okay, does anybody else have a character that maybe would have traveled through villages? And that's usually an easier question than, do you have any questions at all? You know what I mean?
Oh, well, I mean, that's true about communication generally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when we ask, you know, such a broad questions like that, that can be hard for generating language in response, right?
Yes.
So you make a really good point.
I regularly go on a tirade about the fact that neurotypical shorthand is bullshit. And my husband learned very early on in our relationship that if he wanted to know how my day went, he did not ask me, how are you? How are you is the worst question in the world, because do you know what how are you means? It doesn't mean how are you. It means hi. It means hi.
I know.
That's it. Hi.
Well, here's one area where we're very similar, because I still to this day am 41 years old, and if someone asks me how I am, I answer them. I did it to you today, but you can handle me.
No, but I mean it when I ask that. I never ask somebody how they are when I don't actually mean how are you, because I think that's stupid.
Right.
If I want to say hi to somebody, I say hi.
I always answer it truthfully.
And Tyler said mood, and Wordman said LMAO, and Catacombs laughed. So yeah, this is apparently I'm sorry. I'm going to do a stream someday about neurotypical shorthand, and I'm going to include a bunch of phrases that I think are absolute bullshit. And usually when I bring this up to neurotypicals, they go, oh, God, uh-huh. And it blows their minds. It's really funny. All right, back to the adventure. So I do numbers next to actions, and I do plus signs next to other information I think I might need. And I do this especially when I'm going to trim an adventure and I just want to turn it into a one-shot, is I'll plus next to all of the needed information. And then what I'll end up going back and doing is circling either the plus signs or the numbers for what I'm going to keep later. But that's for later. So the other thing that I do is I circle checks. So, like DC checks. I'm trying to find one. I know there's like a billion right at the beginning. Here. An Arcana or Nature check at DC 12 will determine blank.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm really going to do this.
Yeah. You can also highlight. I also highlight names if I think they're going to be important, but I often forget people's names and then make up other ones that I do remember, so sometimes I don't. If the name's important, I'll highlight it. Yep, so we get through this, and we get all the way here with the child. And at this point, you've talked to the mayor, the half-orc, the mayor, technically in the dream, half-orc, the mayor, the halfling, the half-elf. I got a new follower. Oh, Spielman. Thank you for following. Yeah, so you've talked to, let's see, half-orc, mayor, halfling, half-elf. Villagers technically are people you talk to. So you talk to about 5 people, and you get different information from all 5 of those people, and you get 2 items. So the reason I'm making this into a list is because you kind of have to look at it that way. If you want to run a one-shot, and at the very beginning you want them to talk to 5 different people to get all of that information, is this really a one-shot?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And in the one-shot that you guys were in, I think I just told you had a book of clues, and it was taking you to the catacombs, and then I made you go there.
Yeah.
I was like, and you're here now.
Yeah. There were no opportunities to go shopping or talk to strangers. All the dangerous traps.
In here, there's a place where she gives you food. She asks if you're hungry. She puts food
that
bowls.
could be a whole session for some players.
Yes, and with my players, it super is, so I have to optimize around it when I want to go fast. Not Luthera has invoked the !butts command, and so if you type in !butts, then in the chat, the text butts will show up. I should put an about in that because it shows up very much. Right. So when I'm making a decision here, I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do, right? Because I really want to look at the rest of the adventure, but I know I'm going to have to come back here and Hearthsinger Games is raiding me with a party of 9. That's exciting. Hi, Hearthsinger Games. People, humans, do you have follower names yet? I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I think this is the second time I've been raided, but the first time I've been raided by Hearthsinger, who's one of my favorite humans. So hi. Oh,
Awesome.
I just got a follow too. Who just followed me? The Magical Llama Mood. Well, that's a great name, so I'm super happy you're following me there. Here from Hearthsinger Games. Hi. So we're just gonna take a minute and say hi to everybody. Frat Sundare. Afro. Oh God, I don't know if I'm saying that right. You'll have to tell me how to pronounce that. We are the Baby Bards. You're the Baby Bards. Oh my goodness, Werewolf Calgore just followed. That's exciting. So Hearthsinger is just the most amazing human. You should go check her out. She's absolutely wonderful. Definitely follow her. But she's a singer, and so almost everything she does has songs somewhere in it. And it's just fantastic. Yes. Not Luthera says Afro soon do Ray. Is that right? Baby Bards Unite. Yes. I am not a singer. I used to be a singer back in the day, but I will only accidentally sing on stream. Catacomb says, one time my brother was DMing and he was so caught off guard by the players wanting to go into a building instead of fight the monsters that he said all of the buildings were cardboard cutouts. That's amazing. Hearthsinger says Sundere. All right. Yeah, the Zombo. I'm sorry. I broke all my alerts. Hearthsinger, will you help me? Fix my alerts someday. 'Cause they're broken. And then Hearthsinger said, we thought you could use some love. I love the love. I'm a brand new affiliate, so I'm very excited. I'm launching my emotes this evening. So if you become a subscriber at level 1, you get an emote that is very excited, and you get an emote that is very sad. And the way I'm storing that is the very excited is, oh my gosh, you became a subscriber and I'm so excited. And the very sad is, but you could be tier 2. And then if you go up to tier 2, there's an emote of me laughing. And that emote is, the way I story that one is, oh my God, you actually came to tier 2. That's amazing. But maybe you should go to tier 3. And if you go up to tier 3, it's me being grumpy. And that grumpy face is, Twitch won't let me have any more emotes unless I have more subscribers. And so if I get up to 25 subscribers, then I will reveal an Interrobang emote of my dog, not the Interrobang. Interrobang, the dog. And she's super cute. So subscribe. Anyway, hey, Hearthsinger Games just subscribed. I got a new subscriber. And she's really pretty. So I win. Luth says, it's Japanese for a character in anime that starts off all moody and distant. Over the course of the story, softens up and reveals their inner emotions. Did I describe that all well? Sundere. I will see if that's true. Oh my god, I just got a bunch of gifted tears. Hearthsinger.
This is amazing.
This is ridiculous.
Like I'm something beautiful. And how the heck
this
do I subscribe?
This is amazing. You go to my Twitch channel.
Oh, I just got gifted a subscription.
Yes, you did. It looks like Shoe Simmons, Aerodactyl, Werewolf Cowgirl, Spielwoman, and Catacombs all got a gift subscription. Thank you so much, Hearthsinger. That's so sweet. Thank you. Somebody did this to me on Tuesday and I got really red and it's happening again. I don't know what to do when people do this.
You know what? Nice things. We need nice people and nice things right now.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yes, we do. It's very nice. You're killing me.
Very nice.
Earthing says, don't let us distract you from your games. And Sundere says, I'm a champion. And Werewolf Cowgirl says, I'm adorable. Thanks. My emotes are really cute too. Check them out. Anyway, they were done by Hey Jelly TV. All right. So we're not actually playing a game, Baby Bards. What we're doing is I am turning an adventure by Steamforged Games Animal Adventures, where you play a doggo. And let me find a picture of a cute doggo for you to look at because they're pretty cute. Here we go. This is a character in the game that you will play. It's a player character. It's adorable. I love it. Anyway, it's a great adventure, and it would probably take, I'll say 4 sessions of about 4 hours each, maybe. If you have a really talky group. Probably the Baby Bards would take at least 4 sessions if I know anything about Baby Bards. But what I want to do is make this into a one-shot. So Virginia is my guest this evening, Spielwoman, with 2 N's, on Twitter. And so we're just going through how I would do that. So yeah, we'll keep going. Okay, so I categorize all that information. I've got 5 people I'm going to talk to and 2 items I have to pick up and a slew of information I need before I can even start in the adventure. Okay, so I know I'm going to have to come back here and trim. Yes, Dungeons and Doggos are the best. So, I'm going to summarize this really quickly because we've been talking for 50 minutes and I feel like a summary is important. There are 3 encounters that are about to happen. One of them is this encounter, where you find Timony, which is the little boy, and his dog Jasper, which is one of the town dogs, and 2 wolves. And the 2 wolves are going to try and eat Timony. Timony's up on a rock, and Jasper is going back and forth between trying to eat Timony, which is very weird because Timony's his boy, and trying to attack the wolves. And there's something going on with his eyes. So what we have here is an adventure where it's like an introduction, right? Like, Virginia, you remember when you guys fought those 2... Wait. I think I cut the middle out of your one-shot, Virginia.
You did, because you did, and that was fine. But yeah. I played it twice, remember?
Yeah. You remember the first time you fight the rats, there's 2 rats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The like towers of them? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was gross.
But then later you fight just a whole bunch of towers of rats.
That's true.
This is an example. This is the same sort of feel. We're fighting 2 wolves.
It's that type of hook where you are so compelled, right? You like, I guess we're fighting. Everyone in the party is fighting now.
And there isn't really a way around this, right? Like, let's see how they set it up. So there's a bowl of trees that form the perimeter. There's a bright spot. There's a rock. There's a child. The rock has saved a child from a grisly fate, so we already know the tone here. It's a tiny halfling child. Is dressed in mud-splattered and ripped dungarees, clinging to the rock. There are forest wolves. The eyes set with hungry intent. Yep, we're not getting out of this without a fight. An older dog with long limbs, staring at the top of the top of the rocks with the child, drooling but occasionally shaking its head. An eerie green light flashes behind its eyes, and a collar of braided vines emits a similar glow. So we know this is going to be a fight. I know players that will try and get out of this, and it's hilarious when they do, and sometimes it works, and it's awesome. But sometimes it ends up being a fight. The whole point of this is to introduce a doggo that is not all the way turned, because that's, spoiler, that's the end. They all get turned by this druid, and can potentially be saved. And they give you this entire column on the right where there's 1, 2... They give you all of these options for things you can do to get Jasper to stop trying to eat Timony, and like then you have to decide whether Timony's going to stay with you or go back, or if you manage to get Jasper knocked out of his see, I almost said crazy again. His spell, his spellboundness, then maybe he can take Timony back. So there's a lot of decisions here, and for a new party, for a one-shot party, this isn't really the kind of action you want to see, right? Like I want quick decisions that are interesting. I don't want to railroad too hard. But this introduces too much uncertainty, right? Like if they take the kid with them, the kid has to be protected. If they can't manage to knock the Jasper the dog out of the spell, then what do they do with him? And so a lot of what we saw early on with the 5 people you talk to and all the information and like all those items and things you get, that's to mitigate some of what's going to happen in this first fight. So before I get too much farther, my first inclination is to be like, whoop, and get rid of it. Catacomb said 7 and whoops. Trying to find the emotes. Yeah, I don't know how to find them. I put them in there. I tried to find them.
I did too.
I don't know how to find them. Heartsinger, do you know how to invoke emotes? I don't know how to do this. Heartsinger knows everything, I've decided. Yeah, so before I go much further, I'm pretty okay with getting rid of this, because when I do a one-shot, I'm not finding a party of people that want to sit around and stare at each other. It's usually 4 people that are like, yes, I'm doing an adventure. And they already know that they have to move, right? So you're not really having to try really hard to get them to go do stuff. I have a really hard time playing with people that are like, convince me to save the villagers.
Yeah.
Do you ever run into that?
Oh yeah.
I don't know what to do with that. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, I have had success stories and major fails in that area, truthfully.
Ooh, can I have one of both if you're comfortable sharing?
Well, one of the first times when so I'm one of the developers on Critical Core, and one of the first versions of Critical Core.
Have to let me play that.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Sorry to yell at you. Continue.
I would love that. Well, when it was, I mean, it doesn't look anything like the version it is now, but way back in the beginning, I'm running the first version of this module, and I've got 3 teenagers playing it with me, and one of them is interested in following the story. One of them just wants to watch, and one of them is exactly that guy, and he's like, nah, convince me, you know, that sort of thing. And what happened was actually that the girl who was kind of just wanting to observe, she got so involved, and she got so invested. And she came to the group because her mom sent her, right? That's what happens with therapy.
Yes.
And but she loved it. She freaking loved it.
Hey, that's awesome.
She became this, like, she embodied this dwarf warrior. And so she was the one who got the other, like, she, in character,
was
said
like
to these other guys, like, we have to save these people, and like, what are you gonna do?
It's very important.
Yes, we can't, you know. So that was pretty amazing and pretty fun. I mean, it's not really fair to say I've had a fail on it in a way, like a personal failing, but I managed to recruit hell.
Okay.
And it worked.
Okay.
But we had one guy who was like that recently, and we basically found a personal hook for him. Okay. So he was determined to be an Aasimar, and very dark and very withdrawn and sullen, and, you know, not interested in being engaged. But a group of us worked on this, and Adam Johns was a genius. And we ended up having an NPC in the module recognize him from across a field.
Nice.
And she had a dream about him. He was going to be sent to save the village.
Nice.
And so, like, you know, that was a lot of effort, and it wasn't natural to me personally, but because of the great guys at Game to Grow and stuff like that, we managed in the end to get this young man completely engaged. So that was pretty cool.
Those are things that I like. I'm gonna write that down. And those are the kinds of things that I want to know more about, because I'm very interested in making it as easy as possible for my my players to say yes. So Coyote Lovely has joined us. Hello, Coyote Lovely.
Hey.
Tyler Moon has said, oh, you know, just one of the devs on Critical Core NBD. So Virginia, do you want to plug Critical Core for a second?
I don't know if I can, because it's still in development. So it's
about
cool. A year ago. We closed our Kickstarter, and it was amazing. The support we got was incredible. Matthew Mercer stepped in and did some cool things to sort of raise the profile, and it was just very amazing. And I got to do an interview with him, which I still talk about every now and then.
I didn't know that.
It was so fun. Yeah, and so what it is what we're trying to do is teach therapists that therapy doesn't have to be boring, and that you can help people by letting them play and be themselves and experiment and figure out who they want to be in the world through this great thing called tabletop role-playing games. And we want to make it really easy and not intimidating, but then we also want the D&D community to understand this is amazing. You don't have to be intimidated by opening your doors to a neurodivergent population. And so we're trying to sort of do both things with this project, and we're also trying to challenge some assumptions around what social skills are and how they're taught and some stuff like that, but all through tabletop role-playing games. So it's very exciting.
Which I love. And I'm going to take a moment to plug Game to Grow, which is a nonprofit based in Seattle. And the way that I first heard about them was I was at a table next to theirs at a convention, buying a sweatshirt that was going to give money to them. And I heard somebody goes, yeah, they use D&D to teach autistic kids social skills. And I was like, whoop. And I am oversimplifying it hugely, by the way, folks. Do not, that's not a soundbite. But it was just, I'm autistic, and I pounded my head against a wall, literally trying to learn social skills. And so that, to play D&D to social, yes, please. And I got really excited about it. Definitely check out their website. I may or may not be their volunteer coordinator. It's okay, fine. But they're very cool, and I really like them. Coyote Lovely says, therapy shouldn't be boring. If it is, you're doing it wrong. +1 to that.
100%.
Oh, Catacombs is in college to be a therapist. Well, you have come to the right place, my friend. I hang out with a bunch of them, apparently. I told my mom that the other day, and she was like, why? And I was like, they're cool people. And she was like, are they trying to fix you? And I was like, no, I'm okay. She was like, because you're not broken. And I was like, I know. And she was like, don't let anybody. And I was like, I'm okay, Mom. Thank you.
Hey, I kind of love your mom.
My mom is amazing. My mom is the shit. She's, never mind. I would just, a whole stream about my mom. Let's see here. Coyote Lovely, or Tyler waves at Coyote Lovely. Coyote Lovely says, Catacombs, it's a good gig. And Coyote Lovely says, hi to Tyler Moon. Thank you. Okay. Back to this. So the first encounter you have is saving the boy with the dog and fighting off 2 wolves. Fine. The second encounter you have is in the Greenheart. Now, very early on...
my dog. Hang on. I'm going to be back in a second.
That's okay. While Virginia is doing whatever Virginia is doing right now, does anybody have any questions for me? And has anyone figured out how to invoke the emotes? What is this? I just checked my Twitch channel, and they're there. I put them there. Oh, also, I don't know if this matters because I can't figure out how to evoke them, but I don't know how to load them. If I get 25 subscribers, and I have 22 right now, then I can add another emote, I think. Let's see here.
Oh, type the emote name. Do you know what you named them?
Yeah, but they're not, it's not popping up when I type in the name. So they made me preface, so Likese spoon sad. Didn't work. Isn't there an approval process? Oh, fine. I guess they have to be approved.
Well, that's annoying.
I'm
but
so sorry I got everybody excited about it. I was really excited. I guess that makes sense. So you can't do like penises or something. That's fair. All right. Well, please join me. Hearthsinger, do you know how long it takes to get them approved? Maybe. Okay, so Virginia's back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Do that whenever you need to. Yeah, so at the very beginning, you learn a lot about, like, the forest is, like, there's a wizard that is studying the forest, and there's a Greenheart in the forest, and it's a, like, a sacred place, and it has lots of magic involved with it, and like the druids and the dryads are all interested in it. And you come here and you fight with them. You fight with two dryad. I can never say this. Dryads.
Oh yeah.
Whatever. Tree people. You fight with 2 tree people and 1 druid and 1 insect swarm, and you have another map. And you get all the way to the bottom, and you end up getting a clue. Hopefully. Your party has to search a hidden chamber at the base of one of the oak trees, and you find a piece of parchment. And you have to infer a bunch of stuff from the piece of parchment, like blood moon, portents. It's right for our coven to proceed to the Green Heart and convince the dryads to seal the village while we prepare the ritual. And like early, you find out that the village is trying to be sealed in. So this is part of what you're in here to do. The conduit has already been crafted, and the first test will be underway soon. Meanwhile, free the village slaves and then turn them to our cause. So that ends up being the doggos. I'll prepare the site of the stone circle. So you have to come here to get this piece of information to take you to the next place. But how critical is it really to have all of this flavor? And so that's one of the decisions you have to make when you're turning an adventure into a one-shot, is what is important flavor-wise. And when you're trying to decide what is important flavor-wise, I really encourage, I don't know if I can say that 3 times fast. I really encourage you to think about, what do you think will be interesting as a complete story? So at the very beginning, you hear stuff from the mayor about the dogs. I think that's important. You hear stuff from the elf about the magic of the forest. That could be important. You hear stuff from the innkeeper that also hooks into the magic of the forest stuff. Okay, so +1 in favor of that being important. So you have to sort of like, so what I try to do is I try and take all of the information and boil it down into a couple of buckets, and then figure out who can speak to those buckets. And if it's one person, cool. And when I'm looking at all those buckets, I get rid of all the superfluous information. Because often when you've got 5 people talking to you at the beginning, one of the reasons you have 5 people talking to you is each of them can give you overlapping information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to kind of like filter that out. So I think this encounter could be very interesting. And the reason I think it could be very interesting is it sets up the magic part of this, right? Like the first encounter would set up that the dogs are very integral to the village, right? Like this dog is, you know, the villager or the little boy and stuff. But I think you can do that with story. That's still what I'm thinking this far into this.
I agree.
Yeah. But
and the first counter has that hook element, which you very eloquently said earlier. If you're doing a one-shot, you don't need the hook. Everyone's there. They want to get through the story. Mm-hmm. They want to be in the action, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it would be really strange to show up at a one-shot and want to go to the grocery store for 50 minutes.
Yeah, that would be strange. I've had that happen. But it would be strange. So what I think is important about this is that clue that gets you to the third adventure. So then I have to start looking at this and decide, do they really need to do this bit? Do they need to fight both tree people? Do they need to fight the druid? Does there need to be the insect swarm? What about this encounter is important to the story? And one thing that's important is that the druid is guarding this secret place where you find the clue. Another thing that's important to all druids, I suppose, are tree people. Not Luthera is playing a druid right now, and I'm teasing him a little bit because he uses insect swarm a bunch. And he has a little familiar that's like a tree person. But he's only about this big. His name is Fen. He's very cute. So you have to sort of like take a step back and decide like what is important about these descriptions, what's important about the encounter itself, and what is the hook to get them to the next bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah. So this is a nice hook here. After the battle, you don't kill the druid right out. He'll be on the verge of death, and with his dying breath he will say, "My death wins you nothing. The ritual will soon be complete. I am but 3, and my master cares not for my death. May nature return." So that gives you the theme here, right? Like, humans are are the bad guys here, and dogs need to be freed. Like nature needs to be freed is kind of the theme of this. And so I might story the theme of this a little bit differently to reflect not necessarily humans as being the bad guys. Because I don't like dealing with race type stuff, but I'm not sure. It might be a strong theme. It might not be a strong theme when I'm done with this. I can't tell at this point. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's also this bit about, but my party can't speak Druidic. If I'm going to run a one-shot, one of you is going to speak Druidic.
Yeah.
Sorry. And if one of the people in my party doesn't speak Druidic, I have a billion different ways that this can go. You are struck by sudden inspiration. Anybody roll a knowledge check. Like, just somebody roll above a 10, and you can puzzle it out. Like, it takes you an hour.
Something on this person that helps you understand it.
Yeah, you have a brief magic item. Your grandmother used to say certain phrases in Druidic, and so you can piece it together. Fucking anything, right?
That one's nice.
Yeah. So then you get to the third chapter, right? And so this is let me show you this map here. It looks very scary. So what you see here is the two druids. So those are the two that are still alive. A dire wolf, which is something they're trying to raise, and the dogs all around them. Which is funny. They say they're freeing the slaves, but in fact they have. Sorry for the yawn. Sort of enslaved them here. So this really is the culmination of this adventure. Is this story here? Catacomb said, you said it was a magical place, right? They could touch some magic rock and suddenly understand Druidic. Yep, that's another good one. There's all kinds of stuff you could do here. Yeah, so this is kind of the culmination here of what you've gotten into. And so I always try and read through the entire adventure to make sure that I have a good idea of the shape. But what you're really going to get to here is how to end it. So here, let's see if we can find it. So freeing the direwolf requires severing the vines that hold it in place. If the group is unable to disrupt the actions of the druids sufficiently, they will complete the ritual in 10 consecutive turns. If the group is successful in preventing the ritual from completing, so you know that's your main point, is preventing the ritual from completing. Yes, thank you, Siri. So you know that the point of this is to keep the ritual from completing. Then you work backwards. What's the ritual? Return nature. Why do they want it? They think humans are bad. How are they getting it? Well, they have to enslave the dogs because the dogs serve what purpose, right? So you sort of track backwards from there, and you can figure out what you want to keep using that. So I'll go through the whole thing, and every time there's an action, right? Like here, the group must make their way to the ritual and disrupt it before the moon reaches its peak. I'm so sorry. I had the hiccups. Yawns, hiccups, coughs. I'm a mess. So there would be a big plus mark next to this one because it's the hilltop is shrouded in a crimson light. Like this is an action. They've moved to a completely new space. Over here, Battle of the Stone Circle, you get a bunch of information that you need. And this is one thing that bugs me about adventures, is they tell you that you need 2 druids and then put it in bold, and then you have to go find the druids.
Yes.
It bugs me. I just want it laid out all neat and nice. And I read a Twitter thread the other day.
1.6, yeah.
Right? I read a Twitter thread the other day that some version of D&D 2 or 3, I think, don't quote me on that, used to actually map out your battles. But most of what you did was battles. There wasn't a lot of role play in here like there is in like 5 and later editions. But man, I miss that. And in fact, I rebuild all of my adventures to do that. I write out all the beats is what I call it. So anywhere that I put a number will turn into a beat, and that'll actually get either screenshot and copied out or written out in a different way. All of the information I need gets bulleted in next to the beats, so it's side by side. Anytime a beat is a battle, you break off from the information and you get the stats of the
right.
And then any other information about the stats, right? Like if you've got 2 druids and one's green and one's blue, you get 2 druid blocks down, and then you write down underneath or above like one's green and one's blue. or you cross out the name and you say his name is Bob or whatever. And so that's how you're using all the pieces, but you're getting it sort of in a run book. I have a theater degree. I used to be a stage manager. Run books are the way I live my life.
I think you're going to love, you're going to be one of the first people to see Critical Core.
I want it so badly.
They've done that so nicely. I
know. So I backed it, so I get the backer. I live for the backer emails.
You got an inside scoop too.
Every time I get them, I go, oh, you know what? And I add something to my game. Like the thing about, I'm going to forget the acronym. I have it written down. The thing about like, where you, like decision, is it dots? Is it decision?
Oh, dots. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole,
Yeah, that's the whole... that whole thing. The dots, what is it? It's decision. Obstacle. Something about...
Tactic. I have to open it up.
It's something they...
watching. I think I should know.
It's not template. It's something, right? Like it's the thing that makes it happen, right?
Yeah.
And then S is like a summary or like the next bit. It's so good, and it got me.
What?
Yeah. So what?
I remember that.
It got me out of my head. I'll tell you what. And I just started linking adventures all over the place. And every now and then my players would finish in the middle of a campaign, and I'd be like, woo, like in the middle of a session, they'd finish whatever I'd prepared in the middle of a session, and I'd be like, woo, how do you do now? And often it would be they go shopping, but we've gotten away from that, which is nice. We've grown as a group.
It was obstacle. I was right. So it's desire, obstacle, tactic.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So then.
And so you can really, if I may, you can do that with this. What is the desire? Yeah. Well, the villagers want their dogs back. And what's the opposing desire? The druids want to free nature. Okay, we can see just on the surface why that's not going well. What's the obstacle? Well, the villagers and the druids want two different things. You cannot compromise on that, really. You either have one or the other. Tactics is how are you going to approach this? And I think that's why the last two encounters make the most sense to have, right? Like saving the boy is good flavor and it's a good hook. But if you're the kind of GM that can do that any other way, do it any other way. But it's a good mechanic for somebody that may not feel as strong about story or may not feel as strong about hook. Save a little boy.
Hey,
I was just going to say who's going to say no to that, but I know at least 3 people who would. I'm sorry. I used to play with some buttheads back in the day. So that's I'm not knocking it, right, Virginia? Like I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just am not going to use it because I'm now second guessing myself that when you play this, you're going to be like, why should we go into the woods?
Not me.
You going to do that to me, Virginia? That would be so mean.
If I do that, you have permission to wonder why a robot has taken over my body.
I will throw stuff at you with my brain. So that's pretty much the long and the short of it. I have a whole other conversation that I will have at some point about how I script out important beats of combat. And I will probably do that one with Tech Soup because he disagrees with me. He's one of my players and he goes through my combat and he likes it, but he definitely runs his combat very differently. I do a lot of this hand wavy bullshit, and he's got numbers and charts and everything. And I just have some stat blocks and colors.
You're good for each other.
Yes, we really are. It's fun. We're actually collaborating a little bit on the Saturday campaign, which still hasn't been named. Baby Bards, go vote. Go to my Twitter. Look for hashtag. What is this? I lost it again. I'm the worst, but I sent it to you, so I can find it. Look for hashtag punching fog D&D, look for hashtag spoon stream, and you will get one of those tweets. It is a voting of the name of our Saturday stream. The options are Punching Fog, Broken Bane, and Mindstorms. It's a group of 4 heroes that are just the sweetest, and they're definitely hero types. So they want to fix things very often, and I think we storied in someone's backstory that they wanted to fix something so badly they caused a perpetual thunderstorm, and that's how they all met each other. So, yeah. Go vote. Punching Fog is currently leading. Punching Fog has a pretty good lead. But go vote if you care. So yeah, Tech is for once not in that campaign. He's usually in all of my campaigns, and I've actually asked him to help me with some of the story stuff and some of the stat blocks and things. And he's it's the first time I'm going to be able to geek out at him about the story, and I think that's going to be pretty fun.
That's fun.
Do you ever do that? Are you ever able to collaborate with anybody?
I mean, if by collaborate you mean call Adam Davis and Adam Johns and say help, then yeah, they're amazing.
Well, think about that. Like I think you're doing. I don't think you're doing yourself enough credit there. When you call them and you're asking for help, if you do actually ask for help, that is a collaboration.
I do on Slack regularly. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's interesting. I can't imagine the day when I'm the one saying, "Oh, this is how that rule works." But I'm regularly the one saying, you know, you could craft it like with the creativity, with the ooey gooey. What do you call it? The hand wavy.
Hand wavy bullshit.
I can do hand wavy. Yeah.
I'm very good at hand wavy bullshit.
Yeah.
I was talking to Tech about something earlier today, actually, and I was like, but it would be really cool if it looked like this. And he was like, and here are all the things you need to consider. And I was like, but cool thing. And he was like, things to consider. And I was like, cool thing. And he was like, you can do the cool thing. And I was like, I'm considering the things, but I want to do the cool thing. So yeah, that's pretty much his and I entire relationship. Yeah, but collaborations can look like anything, right? Like, I needed magic items the other day, and a friend of mine was really helpful when I was like, what about spoons? Because I really love spoons. And they were like, hell yes. And sometimes collaboration can just be a hell yes. Sometimes collaboration can just be a, yes, you have that rule right. Sometimes collaboration can be a challenge, can be a sort of a devil's advocate of like, well, do you want to do that or do you want to do this? And so it could look different depending on the relationship. I'm pretty sure if and when you run me through Critical Core, I will ask a billion questions and I give you complete permission to make up all of the answers because I won't know any better.
Yeah, talk about collaboration. I mean, writing those modules has been...
I know.
It's been... I mean, I've learned so much just through the process of kind of the iterative cycles that these modules have gone through.
Yep.
And, like, yeah, a lot, not just about how to run a module and things like that, but, you know, storytelling and crafting something and polishing something. And
yeah,
that's been amazing.
I'm really interested in it as a complete experience. I think it's going to be, I just can't wait for it to come out. I'm so excited.
We feel the same.
I need those dice, man. Like
oh my gosh.
I need those dice. I have too many dice. And for those of you visiting my stream for the first time, I am a diceomancer. I have a problem. I own way too many dice from Level Up Dice because they're the prettiest dice and they're well balanced and did I mention they're pretty? And here's one of my favorite ones. Let's see if I can do the Hearthsinger. Can you see that?
Oh, I think that's the one I want too. That's so gorgeous.
It's fuzzy, but you guys can see the flashes of the color, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty. Yeah, so you can follow my link under this video to level up dice, and I get experience, which means I get to give things away. So you want to click on my link. I promise my stuff is cool. Yeah.
Well, it's my birthday next month, and I'm determined to get some dice. I wanted to have the Critical Core dice by the time I was 40, and I'm 41 next month, so...
No, you're not.
Maybe I will click on your link.
I guess you did say you have a teenager. I do not see you as...
15-year-old hovering over my shoulder right now.
Hi, 15-year-old.
He's just edging out the...
He got uncomfortable, didn't he? He was like, nope, 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 nope. Poor guy. Yeah, you should definitely click on my link. And if you want advice, I own so many dice.
Oh my gosh.
So many. And a bunch of the dice I own are blue, so I can help you out.
There you go. What a great color.
Catacomb says, I wish I could afford fancy dice. I know the feeling, and I'll tell you what, the first time Luth and I got a pair of dice, he saved up and he bought me the very first set of level up dice we had in the house were amethyst. The amethyst dice, and I think they ran for $90 at the time, and we had to save up for those. And I treasure those. I don't play with them, I display them. They're my prettiest dice. But it can really, and I'm privileged to be able to do that, right? I'm privileged that I can have dice that just sit on a shelf. But I think of it in two different ways. One, Chessex dice are great, and they come in very pretty colors. But I often think of them as dice that aren't level up dice, as the plates you buy that you either don't mind breaking, or are the kids' plates, you know what I mean? Like the plastic plates. But the level up dice are like adult plates, like fine china. So you have to take care of them. But they're pretty to look at. You feel good when you use them. And I don't know, if you've got a favorite character, there's just something about having a set of dice for that character. And it almost becomes part of that character's personality. And yes, some people, not Luthera, and TechSoup can take it too far and have entire master vaults full of dice for just one character. Or you can be like my friend Coyote Lovely. She's got, I think she's only got one set of level up dice, and they're perfect for her. And she uses them every time she plays, and she loves them to pieces. Now, she may expand her collection at some point in the future, but right now, that one set, that's enough for her. Notley Thera says, "What, you have more than me?" Whatever.
I was just wondering if there's going to come a stage in the future where you're going to have a dice vault for one of your characters and have to sort of say publicly.
No, so the way that I do my dice vaults, here's how I do my dice vaults, because I have 4 master vaults next to me. This one's full of all of my dark purple ones.
Nice. That is gorgeous.
This one I can't show off yet because I've got a set that I can't show. So let me just put that set over here. This one is all of my clear-ish dice. So I've got quartz and 2 glass in there. Oh, this is my metal sets. So this is my sets that are...
Yeah, no one's messing with that kind of setup. I see it.
I've got mostly aluminum in here, aluminium. This is a set of caged aluminium.
Oh,
Can you guys hear this?
Yeah.
Can you hear that pretty noise?
It's awesome.
I have some brass coming to me as a birthday present. I'm very excited about it. These are hematite, so they're not really metal, but they're intense, these guys. So they go in this box. And then I have a box of a Master Vault of Catch-All that only has 2 sets of dice in it right now. And they've got, so these didn't really fit in with anybody. So yeah, I have too many dice.
Sort of miscellaneous box.
Yes, this is my miscellaneous box. And I have vaults all over the house of individual dice. Like my mystery dice are all in one tabletop vault because I keep them at my desk when I'm working to make me feel better when I'm sad. I love my job, I really do, but like the world is losing its mind and it's not fun right now, and so sometimes I will just play with my mystery set. There's so many good. Catacomb says there's no such thing as too many dice. Thank you for feeding my habit. But yeah, I love dice. I will occasionally give dice away, so definitely follow me. I know other people do too. Level Up Dice actually does, if you go to their streams. Tyler says, I'm looking forward to when we're large and well-oiled enough to produce shiny purple or blue braille dice. That will be awesome, Tyler. Luth can actually print them, and I actually have a set that I need to paint for a friend of mine, so I could paint you some. Tyler works for Dots RPG, They,
Oh, amazing.
yep, they're super cool. They're in my Saturday campaign, so come check them out.
Wait,
Um,
wasn't he the like no big deal critical core comment, and now you're just kind of no big dealing dots RPG? I
Yes,
love
I
that.
am. Yes. Tyler's one of my favorites. We talk a lot about story and things, and they have the coolest character. We talked about it for like hours today. I'm very excited about it. So Dots RPG is all about accessible gaming, and one of the coolest things I think they do is they've got a set of schematics that you can use to print Braille dice, like 3D print Braille dice that are balanced and readable and look cool. So check them out. Does StreamStream have any questions about taking an adventure and turning it into a one-shot that I might be able to answer before we end stream? Virginia, do you have any questions or comments?
I don't. I had a lot of fun, so thank you very much.
I really appreciated you doing this with me. I'm definitely comfortable talking into the void for hours on end, but it's always nice to have a friend. I was very excited.
It was really fun. Thank you.
Full disclosure, I was going to run this tonight without having prepared it.
And you would have still rocked it.
I would have spent a lot of time doing this. Nope, that's stupid. I'm going to skip it for now. Nope, that's not going to fit in here. Nope, I'm skipping that. Not because anything is actually stupid or needs to be skipped, but because I was going to try and run a group of ladies through. You're all ladies, right? Yes, group of ladies through. Sorry, I try to be careful about gender. A group of ladies through a one-shot, and I was looking at this about an hour before we were playing, and we were trying to figure out if we were going to be able to do it tonight, and I was like, this is not a one-shot. What did I do? And I was like, I'm gonna wing it.
We'll do it soon.
Yeah.
We'll do it soon.
We will. We should definitely do that soon. And this one's gonna be a Dungeons and Doggos and Drinks.
Yes, it is.
I will have 2 drinks, and it will get very interesting. All right, Stream, you know where to find me. I love all of you, I'm sure. And please give Virginia a follow at Spielman on Twitter. Let me put her in the chat real quick. She has very good thoughts, and like I said, she's Spielwoman, actually. Yes. She's working on Critical Core, which is a really great thing, and you should check it out. Catacomb says, what's the longest adventure you have shrunk? Probably this one. I was going to try and shrink Acquisitions Inc., but what I ended up doing instead was sticking stories inside of it and using it whenever I needed a hook. So this is probably the longest one that I'm going to be shrinking. It's a pretty long adventure. You could literally spend a couple sessions on the first 2 pages where you're just getting the information. I do a lot of homebrew. I make up my adventures like you wouldn't believe. I'm going to try and run Gardens of Fog without changing anything with my Saturday stream. It's going to be really hard, Virginia. It's the Take This module. Have you heard of it?
Heard of it. I'm definitely going to watch.
I'm going to try so hard not to change anything, and I think it might kill me. It's going to be really hard.
Who are you running it with? Oh, your Saturday people, your Saturday group.
My Saturday group is Tyler Moonsage, Coyote Lovely. I think Sarah's handle is Pterodactyl still. Pterodactyl. Oh, yeah. Her handle is Hanabi. She's a friend of mine. So it's and they're all playing female characters. Let's see if I can remember all their names. Sarah's playing Battle. Coyote Lovely is playing Freya. Tyler's playing, I think it's pronounced Yume. And Hanabi is playing Winnie. Yes, I got them all. They all have custom art, which is the first time that's ever happened to me. And I've decided it's happening to me. They've all got custom art from Randall Hampton, who's great. Shish kebabs. It's at the bottom of my stream, the ones that I know. We've got 3 artists participating. It's going to be really cool. So yes, please join us and watch me grit my teeth. And it's a very good adventure. The only reason I will be gritting my teeth is because I try to make stuff up all the time. And so I'm really going to try and do homage to it somehow. And I'm also running it on Monday with my shift group, and I'm not going to try and do it straight with them at all. So that'll I'll try and get my
Get it
creative
out
energy
your
out there.
system.
I started earlier with them too, so hopefully I can
Yeah.
be like, wiggly stuff, and then just run it straight with the Saturday group. And knowing any of those characters, they won't play it straight, so I'll probably be doomed on day one, but it's going to be good.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Catacomb says, I don't know what that is, but it sounds super cool. Check it out. Go to DM Guild and look up Gardens of Fog. It's a very interesting look at, gosh, how would you put this, Virginia?
I don't
Well,
know.
it's Mental Health Awareness Month. I guess that's how I will bill this. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. Gardens of Fog is a neat way to run through the ideas of mental health and normalizing mental health and
That's perfect.
and protecting, and like it actually takes you through some interesting mechanics you can use with real live humans around mental health. So that's very cool. You definitely check it out. It's very well written, very well balanced. They add a new character or a new class called the Psychomancer, which is awesome. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. Let's see, what are the other comments I have? Werewolf said, thanks, you too. This was very nice. Thank you so much for joining us. Catacomb says, what time is your Saturday game? It is actually in my calendar below. It should be at a time. I don't remember my own schedule. Oh, I can't get to it fast enough. I think it's at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, but if you look at the schedule, it'll show it in your time. Tyler said, yeah, you got him. Yes, I did. And Catacomb says, ooh, interesting. I assume to the mental health comment. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. You can come watch us do it if you would like. I think with that, we will wrap it up. Virginia, do you have any closing comments?
I do not. I'm just very grateful to have spent time with you.
Yeah, I was really excited when you were like, can we hang out anyway? And when I was like, I have to do some work, are you okay with that? And you were like, yes. I actually have one question for you as a parting question.
Okay.
You basically know the entire premise of this module. How do you think you're gonna run it with the group? I know you ran the last one shot twice, but that was a little different, where you didn't have like heads up warning with the first time.
Well,
You know?
I think my character lets me. I'm not a leader in the group, right? And I can.
It's true.
So I and that was really fun in the last one. I knew that module, but I just was the enthusiastic cheerleader.
It's true.
And if people wanted me to do the ranger thing, I was available for that, and I was all about it. But it just was really fun to be able to be more into the role playing than trying to solve the puzzles, and kind of make space for other people to do that. So that's what I'll do.
I think that's an excellent way to position that. You can definitely play characters intentionally like that, right? Like you can build a character that wants to take a back seat and let others sort of lead. I have a player that does that right now. He deliberately built a character that was a little more quiet so that some quieter humans could get could get a word or two out, which is nice. And I think it's nice that you've described that for your character, that's something you're doing intentionally. Rangers don't have to be quiet, you know.
No.
I know a very, very loud and annoying ranger. It's also my husband. I'm sorry. I love you, babe. I'm kidding. He's great. I love Quentin. He's my favorite. Yeah.
If you've met one ranger, you've met one ranger.
Oh my God, that's so true.
Isn't that so deep?
Yes, you're very deep. You're also echoing an autistic phrase, so thank you.
I know.
You're such a goof. Yeah, so that's going to be really interesting too. And I also think I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, that in the first one, you didn't realize that you were not just a ranger, but a ranged character. So standing further back.
I got that wrong.
Well, I wouldn't say you got it wrong. I would just say that it wasn't something that was made either clear enough to you as a brand new pre-gen, I gave you this sheet 5 seconds ago. So that was something I took as a learn. And then the second time you played him very differently. Do you think that there's anything you're going to bring to this game that's a little bit different from the second time you played Dungeons and Doggos?
Based on our discussions today, or based on the character evolving?
Either.
I think what's fun about the next time we're going to play it is that we have a party that's forming and characters. So as friends, we're learning to play together, and 2 of the players are really new to D&D.
Which doesn't come across when we're playing, by the way.
Well,
I can't keep all of you straight at this point because I met 3 of the 4 of you on that day, and
Yeah.
so I'm still putting faces to names and stuff, but I could not tell who was the new player. I just couldn't. You guys all had a ball. It was fun.
We're all very gung ho, but I think that I think for me the thing I'm most excited about and excited about developing is I felt like I now in my character have a relationship with someone these are all women I work with, and now I have this like new relationship as Scout with these characters, and I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to developing that and like that dynamic going deeper. So I mean, I think that's the main thing for me. Whereas with this, yeah, I'll just be like the same kind of enthusiastic, I've got this, guys, if you want me to find footprints, I'm your guy. And then I'll just let them, you know, have fun. And that I'm really looking forward to it.
I think that's a really nice thing to be able to do too, is to be able to enjoy the game without having to control it, which is very difficult for me. And all of my DMs are very patient, and I appreciate all of them because I'm definitely a control freak. So I do like running the games for that reason, but even that is an exercise in collaboration. You know,
Yes.
Yeah, I say I'll script this out, but you guys could take this completely sideways and I will have to make up the rest and it's gonna be fine. You know, I will actually, because I can't predict your group yet, I'll script out the little boy scene too, just in case I need it. It'll be good. All right, well, stream, we're going to let you go. Virginia, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us today. Go ahead and hang out on the channel after I end the stream so you and I can talk, just you and I. Stream, if you have any questions, I am like 7spoon on Twitter. I'm happy to answer them. I will be posting this video up on YouTube, so if you want to tell your friends about it, that's where it will be. Yeah, we really enjoyed having you. It's always fun to have an active chat. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, stream. Bye.